So you know when a book just hits and it hits so perfectly and you're like, yes, 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 yes. And you can't stop thinking about it. So you just have to make a video. That's what I'm doing today. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name is Monica. So here's the thing. I have loved Bodyguard romances since I was a kid. You know, Kevin Costner, Whitney Houston, The Bodyguard, I Will Always Love You. Yeah, I'm that corny. It is a thing. I love it and I don't care. So the book that made me decide that I had to make a Bodyguard romance video is Beyond the Thistles by Samantha Young. This is my first Samantha Young book, and it obviously will not be my last. Sloane is a single mom. She is on the run and she works for this place. It's kind of like this, I don't want to call it a country club. It's a resort, very private resort in the Scottish Highlands where you have to sign an NDA to work there. And her ex is a drug lord basically, or a drug dealer. And she put him away for some very good reasons. Anyway, she's a single mom. Her daughter Kelly is 10 years old, and Walker works for the resort. He's also a bodyguard, and he has his own trauma, and he's broody, grumpy, and he wants nothing to do with being in a relationship. He feels like a single mom would want to be in a relationship, but she's like, no, I don't want to have a relationship. I just want to have a good time, no strings. And so they start up a relationship, but then there is attempted essay on page, and then he has to protect her from her ex who comes after her. And it is such a good story. I was hooked from the prologue on. I generally don't really care about prologues. When I read a prologue, I'm generally like, okay, why do I care about a prologue? There has to be a reason for a prologue. And there was a reason for this prologue. It set up the whole reason why she went to Scotland and why she was on the run. And the way Walker protected her, and oh my gosh, the final chase scene where he was basically mortally wounded and running after her. I'm like, holy crap, this guy is like, he's tough. He's really tough. And she's tough too. She takes care of herself. And her daughter's tough. And I just love that. I love Sloane because Sloane doesn't take anybody's crap either. But at the end of the day, he will protect her. And I'm just like, these men are touch her and you will die type of men. And I'm just like, oh, swoon. So absolutely, if you haven't read Beyond the Thistles, you need to go read Beyond the Thistles. So the next book is older. It is The Outpost by Devney. And this is book 4 in her Copperfield, it's Jameson Valley. It's her Jameson Valley series. The first one's the Copperfield house. So this one is Beau and Sabrina. Sabrina's on the run from a mob. She's an investigative reporter, and she went undercover to out the Russian Bratva, which is a really dumb idea, but she's an investigative journalist. Anyway, so her life is literally in danger. So she goes to her friend's house in Montana, and Beau, who I think if I remember correctly, he's a game warden, he takes her into the Glacier National Park, and they have all these outposts around the park where literally you're in the middle of nowhere. You don't have cell service. You don't have luxury. You have a cot, and you're lucky if you have indoor plumbing. And so he takes her out there, and Beau is so sweet to her, and he falls for her, and he's gentle with her, but he protects her. She protects herself too. So one of the things, like Sloane, Sabrina is a very tough character. She's not gonna lay down and be like, I am going to let you protect me and I'm not going to do anything. All these books that all the books that I'm recommending in this video, the women are not passive. They are being protected by their heroes, but they're also protecting their heroes. And Sabrina does that with Bo. And I love their dynamic, and I love how they come together. And it is definitely forced proximity and one bed trope, but also how she stands up for herself in the end, and how he protects her from the people who are trying to hurt her. And I love it. So I would be remiss, actually, it would be criminal of me to not add this book. There should be a rule or a law or a commandment or something, but I need to have Broken Vow by Sophie Lark in this video, because Raylan and Riona, I mean, he was a commando. He saved people from kidnappings. When Riona had a hit put out on her, and I will not spoil who, because that's actually a pretty good plot line. Her older brother. Was it an older brother? No, it was her friend Dante Gallo, who gets in touch with his old mate from the armed forces, Raylan, and asks him to protect Riona. Riona's resistance at first, because Riona's really much, she's like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and you're just not going to do what I'm going to do. She is very independent, stubbornly independent. She doesn't like help. She likes to be able to prove herself. And I get that point of view, because she's a badass. Like, she's a badass. But Raylan, he saves her more than once, but she saves him too. When a guy does something really, really interesting with Scuba, I'm like, that is so interesting that actually could happen, and it could. He takes her to their horse ranch, and because he's also a cowboy, and they bond over that. But she's a city girl all the way. Anyway, but the trouble goes to Tennessee. So there is a lull in the story when they're in Tennessee at his family's, I think it's their horse ranch. Anyway, but the banter and the way he protects her, and the way she stands up for herself, especially in the end, a lot of these girls at the end, when they're protecting themselves, so good. But these guys, they protect their women. And I love that. And I love how he protected her. And I keep saying it over and over again, but I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil these. I'm sure everybody has read Broken Vow. I don't think everybody's read The Outpost or Beyond the Thistles, but I think most people have read Broken Vow. Whether you really loved it or it wasn't your favorite in this series, you have to admit something about Sophie Lark's writing. She can tell an incredibly good story. The way she crafts the plotting, the way she does the impact of the story, the characterizations. These characters are not flat. They all have their different personalities. They all have the way they interact with each other is so interesting, because it's unique to their own characterization. And the way Riona and Raylan come together is like, boom. And I love their story, and I love their backstories, and I love how they do come together as a couple, and how they protect each other, and how they protect themselves. And I would always recommend Broken Vow as a bodyguard romance. Okay, and then when we're talking about bodyguards, we gotta talk about the royals. And of course, we're gonna have to do Twisted Games, which is Bridget and Reese. I'm not going to talk about too much of this, because I think a lot of people have read Twisted Games as well. This one is actually my favorite, and Anna Huang said that this is the smuttier version of The Princess Diaries too, and I can see it, but she made him the bodyguard, and I'm just like, I love it. And their dynamic is so great. they banter back and forth. I don't see them as enemies. I see them more as not even rivals. Like, they just banter. There's a way, and I don't know what to call it. And it'll probably come to me after even probably after I edit this video. But they challenge each other, and they get on each other's nerves because they are attracted to each other, and it is forbidden because he is her bodyguard and she is going to be a queen of a country. And he wants her, and she wants him, and she wants to do her own thing, but he wants her to do what he wants her to do for her own safety. And she's like, see ya, sucker. So, yeah, they butt heads, they banter, but at the end of the day, they fight for each other. And he protects her. Obviously, he's the bodyguard, but also she fights for him against her own parliament so that she can marry whoever she wants to marry, and they don't have the right to tell her who she can marry. And Rhys has to get off his own prideful high horse, and he does. And he loves her, and he ends up having their HEA, and I love it. And the same thing kind of goes along the lines of this, but was done first, is Royally Endowed by Emma Chase. Now, Logan, St. James, and Ellie this is an age gap. Ellie is an American. She is Olivia's younger sister. They meet when she's 17. He is quite a bit older than she is. However, and look at that cover. Yeah, that's a gorgeous cover. So Ellie she's extremely intelligent. She's not street smart, but she's book smart. Whereas Logan is very street smart. He stays in New York after Nicholas and Olivia start to date, and Nicholas wants to take Olivia to Westco to show her the palace and everything because Nicholas falls in love with Olivia. This is in book 1, and this is book 3 in the series. You don't have to read them in order, but you really should. So Ellie immediately finds Logan attractive. However, Logan is like, you're a kid. Because she's 17. I mean, she's cute. She looks like a woman, but she's 17. And she's graduating from high school. And he stays with her and her dad. Her dad has substance abuse disorder. Their mom has passed away, and her mom was actually killed in a mugging. Anyway, so there's a longer time period where their relationship develops. They develop once she starts getting over her initial crush, they develop this friendship and this camaraderie, and it turns into this sense of love that they have for each other. And he is her bodyguard because in order for Olivia to feel safe about going to Westco, he stays behind with their friend Tommy, his friend Tommy, who's another bodyguard for the royal family. So we go through this time period where it's like, I think like 5 years or so. They give into their feelings when she becomes in mortal danger at one point. And then they're outed. And then he has to suck up his pride and be like, yeah, okay, I might be good enough. So she protects him in the end. Again, this has a prologue that I was like, why do I need the prologue? But the prologue actually hooked me because it shows what happens towards the end to make me want to read all the way to from the beginning all the way to the end. So be aware of that prologue if you don't particularly like prologues like I do. I know everybody has a thing about epilogues. Me, it's more like prologues. I just want to get into the meat of the story. I don't need a prologue unless it's truly necessary. And most of the time, they're truly not necessary. They're just there. I love Logan St. James. He's the guy from the wrong side of the tracks who lied about his age to get into the army, who was so good he ended up becoming a bodyguard to the royal family and falls in love with the sister of a duchess. And it's fantastic. I love this book. So those are some of my favorite Bodyguard romances that I think you should check out if you haven't already. Let me know down below if there are any that I should check out that I haven't mentioned. And if you made it this far in this video, and if you would like to let me know that you're here without making a comment or anything, please leave me a crown emoji as we talked about royalty for the last 2 books. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.